Am I the idiot for what I said to my husband's aunt after she constantly claimed I was cheating? I, 27F, and my husband, 28M, are accepting our first child, a baby girl, in January. We already have her name picked out, a name we both adore, the same middle name as my sister, and my last name. Some backstory: me and my sister are my father's only children. Unfortunately, he passed away when I was 13. Because of this, I have become extremely attached to my last name. I feel like it is my duty to carry on his legacy by keeping my last name and giving it to my children. Some backstory on my husband's side: my husband is the fourth born of 5 boys. Most of his brothers are married with at least one kid with their last name. At first we planned to hyphenate our daughter's last name with my last name first. But my husband suggested that if it's so important for me that she have my last name, then let's just give her mine. He says that no matter what last name she has, she will always be his daughter and he will love her no matter what. Now the issue is with my husband's aunt. She claims that if I'm trying so hard to persuade him into giving our child my last name, then it must not be his. The rest of my husband's family is 100% on board with this decision. I was obviously hurt by what she is saying. My husband has sat her down and talked with her about this, but she doesn't believe a word he says. She claims that I am lying and that the only reason I kept my name when we got married was so the men I had been cheating with didn't know I was married. My husband told me to just ignore her and eventually she'll simmer down, but I think it's just made her double down. She now claims that since I am ignoring her that she's right and that I'm afraid of her and of what she'll do. Here's where I might have went too far. We were at my mother-in-law's house, she's an absolute saint BTW, just hanging out, when his aunt showed up to pick something up. We made eye contact but said nothing. She stayed for a while and talked about things unrelated to the baby. Well, the baby kicked my right in the rib and I winced and grabbed my stomach. That's when she mumbled something under her breath about my bastard of a child. I lost it. I went off about how her daughter cut her off because of how she treated her and how her and her husband are on the brink of divorce because he was cheating on her. To be completely honest, I think that's why she was targeting me in the first place. She got upset and stormed out. I felt terrible afterwards. Both my husband and my mother-in-law said that they were surprised I hadn't done it sooner. But I can't help but feel that I stooped down to her level and gave her more to say about me. I honestly feel for her. Anyone in her situation would obviously not be in a very good mental place and I can't help but feel I made it worse. Edit: I'm gonna answer some of the most common questions I've seen in these replies. Why doesn't my husband take my name? The only why I can explain this is choice. I choose to keep my name when we married and he chose to keep his. We didn't see issues about it when we married and we definitely didn't know it would have been an issue now. However, if my husband does choose to change his name to match me and our daughter, that's completely his decision, which I will support. 2. Why didn't my husband or MIL do something first? I did say in the post that my husband talked to her before. Like I also said in the post that she didn't listen to him. Now from reading all of your advice I will be going little to no contact and have requested an apology. As of now I have not heard anything from her. I basically told her if she does not apologize she will have nothing to do with our daughter. If that's a little harsh, please let me know. Thank you for your support and helping me clear my mind of guilt from the whole situation. I appreciate it. Comment 1. They're surprised you hadn't done it sooner? Where TF were they? Your husband sat her down? Wow. Nice minimal effort. Your husband should have come down hard after that sit down. And your MIL is her sister. She can't stand up to her sister in defense of her own grandchild. These may be lovely people, but they are not fighters. And now you know. They expect you to be the one to put down the beasts. If you're okay filling that role, cool. If not, then you need to talk to your husband and tell him that he needs to step up. NTA. Never be shy about bringing the pain in defense of yourself and your child. No such thing as low blows. Comment 2.
Yeah,
There are plenty of posts to attack the family members for ignoring the behavior, but they've talked it out with her, she ignored them, and they followed the OP's lead, up to and including reassuring her that her outburst was justified. They didn't infantilize her or protect her, they let her make her own decisions. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for embarrassing my husband in front of his friends? I, 26F, am married to K, 25M. I met him a few years back when my best friend and his best friend started dating. After that our friend groups kind of joined together. So all of my husband's friends are also my friends, and all my friends are his friends. I've known my best friend, A, for 15 years, we've always been extremely close and lived together at one point. She's literally part of my family, she comes to all of my family events. My siblings refer to her as their sister and she's just been extremely involved in my life for years. Now, me and my husband have a 6-month-old daughter. My dad is extremely wealthy, so he helps us out financially until my daughter is old enough to go to school. Then I will take a job at his company that pays well. My husband has a job that he works from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then afterwards him and his friends often hang out at my house, or at one of their houses. Here's the problem, my husband's best friend cheated on my best friend a few weeks ago. She's completely heartbroken, and since they live together my husband and I agreed that it's okay, that she stays with us until they work things out. She's not really up to seeing him just yet. A is a huge help with the baby, she's so good with her and the baby loves her. When my husband and his friends get home they normally talk until 8 p.m.-ish, so he doesn't help with the baby too much when he gets home, which I don't mind, it's just nice to have a little help. Yesterday night my husband opened the front door, peeked his head in, looked right at me and A, rolled his eyes and walked out. Him and his friends came in a few moments later and were all being cold and rude to A all evening. After an hour or two my husband walks right up to me and A and says, "Does she always have to be here? I want to bring friend's name here tonight." And rolled his eyes. I responded, "If I want to bring my best friend into the house my dad paid for, I can, and if I choose to have somebody help me with the baby that you're not looking after, it's going to be her." His friends just sat there silently and he just walked away and sat back down. He's giving me the silent treatment. Anna left and is staying with her mom as she feels uncomfortable being in the house now. Comment 1. It's not even that high of a bar you have to clear for people to think you're a great dad. My ex is a teacher and she'd always hear from teachers at our daughter's school about how good of a dad I am. She'd say he his, but how would you know that? All you know is that he picks her up from school. Mom has to go over and above, dad just has to show up. Comment 2. OMG, I miss shopping with my kids without the wife. One time, I had multiple people tell me I was amazing, a hero, seriously, great dad, and then ask me to cut in line to the front. I said thanks and went to the front of the line smiling but thinking WTF in my head. My wife goes with the kids, while being pregnant, and some dude couldn't even hold the door open for her. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my kids that their dad is a cheater? Mike, a 46F, husband, 47M, and I have been in a dead bedroom for around 8 years. Our older two, 22M and 19F, kids are in college. The younger two are 15F and 9F. For context, I only told this to my adult kids. But to explain our dead bedroom, I do not have any cultural or religious hang-ups about sex. The dead bedroom isn't because I hate my husband or have some birth injury that needs to be checked out. However, we've been married for 23 years. In college, while I was by no means ugly, my husband was the big fish in the small pond. Athletic, and people said he would become a CEO. I pursued him much more than he pursued me, and it took a year for him to ask me out. The first 5 years were a honeymoon in every way possible. However, after we settled into marriage and had our first 2 kids, I realized the athletic and smart guy was just a human like everybody else. And that he had a lot of flaws. For example, he is very emotionally needy and he would go on philosophical diatribes. Especially when it came to sex. He would say, "I need sex, I need it to feel loved." And it would hurt because I was juggling 2 kids as a SOM and it seems like my contributions were all moot when he wants sex. He would do things like make dinner from scratch, buy flowers, or hint at planning something special for my birthday or our anniversary. But when he admitted he hoped the night ended in sex, I was turned off and told him I could take myself to a restaurant or mall then. By the time our fourth came along, we were having sex once every few months. After our fourth, I began becoming more assertive. I was angry that all the nice things my husband did were to get sex. So I told him the attraction is just not like it was, and forcing the topic was breaching the boundaries of my consent. The final straw was when he said, "Sex between spouses keeps families together." I was so hurt because all the years I gave up as a som apparently did nothing to keep the family together. Instead, it is about how $100,000 a year job and how he says he takes care of himself, so why wasn't I attracted? Finally, over the last month he started dropping hints that he wanted sex, in any way he could get it, apparently. Finally, during counseling last week when I said I felt intermittent burst of attraction towards men in movies and books, he asked if I'd allow him to see an escort if I could pick her out. I was furious and walked out. My mood was apparent to my kids when I called them, and when they asked what was wrong I told them their dad is a cheater. They became very upset and haven't been taking my husband's calls. My husband is furious, saying he didn't cheat. But the point is that he wanted to cheat, tried to coerce me into letting him cheat. Also, there's no way he hasn't looked up escort agencies. So I just being honest with my adult kids about their dad. Comment 1. Trying to color your children's perception of their dad? Big move. What were you aiming for? Favoritism? Taking sides? You should never involve innocent children in an adult conversation. Shame on you. Comment 2. Also, whenever a man comes to Reddit trying to fix his dead bedroom, what questions does he get? Do you help with housework? Do you cook? Do you try to romance her? OP's husband tried doing exactly what Reddit would have recommended, and some people still shit on him. Thanks for watching Emma's Story Central. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing for daily uploads. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to make better content. You can also check out yesterday's video by clicking on the screen. Thanks for watching and have a great day.